it's been very popular. The wave clear of the Grimstroke is very, very strong.
I think the basic combination as well of having the Grimstroke toss that Inkswell onto the Ember is pretty potent. That's something to watch out for. Of course, Boom has to be careful about giving away something like the Soul Bind towards a Rubik. That's a fairly easy spell for the Rubik to steal, and we know Zephyr is a top tier Rubik, so something Boom has to keep in mind. I am keen to see what exactly they're trying to go for as a direct combination. You tend to see something that builds off of that Soul Bind when you have that Grimstroke. Beastmaster is still in the pool. You could potentially see the effect of double roar here.
Could. There will be a Centaur Warren now, so Geek Fam, they do have a very, very potent offlane in that Rubik Centaur that we've seen many times, and usually it does work out very, very well. Boom Esports still yet to reveal their own offlane pick, and like you just mentioned, Beastmaster is there if they want to go down that route. It may not be a safe pick. You did just say, Primal is pretty easy to steal. Like it's not hard. It has a very kind of long animation, and there's a bit of a delay afterwards before you can really cast your next ability. So you don't really want to give that away to the side of Geek Fam, but that's assuming you don't just get Zephyr first anyway. In a team fight, like only time will tell.
That puts a lot of pressure on the Rubik because it does really look like Geek Fam is relying on Zephyr to set up here. Beyond just the Will-O-Wisp from the Keeper, a lot of that control is either coming from the Rubik or the Centaur, and the Centaur only really has to stomp, so you're going to be looking for a lot more from this Rubik. Boom does go with the Mars instead. Not the most synergistic with the Grimstroke, but does work out with everything else Boom Esports has. With the Ember Spirit, with that Earthshaker, you're going to be clumping them up in a fairly tight area, and that's where a lot of these heroes shine. So you are seeing all of that come together for Boom Esports. Of course, I have to point out, Boom is going for a very special strat here. They're going for the all reds. So it's working out quite well for them. Their banners are red. They're on the Dara side. Their heroes are red. Looking pretty darn good.
You're stretching it a little bit by saying Grimstroke's red. Like he's got a bit of red.
His hat is red. His outfit's red. He's a red hero. He's blue inside, but he's red outside. That's what matters. We're all about outer appearances.
Okay. Thank you for that, John. We'll see if they continue the trend as Geek Fam. They do have one more ban left before we get into the next ban and then the last picks. Geek Fam, they do get rid of the Ricky. Very annoying hero. And, we have seen quite a bit of Ricky up against Gyrocopters pretty much every time it's been picked up. And Ricky seems to do quite well up against the Gyro because it's just such a immobile hero that it's just so easy for a Ricky to jump in, clear him out, and jump back out. And Boom, of course, they get rid of the Quap. Unsurprising.
Solid ban out. They do close out. Oh my god. Okay. I have a couple of things to say about it.
Okay.
Lycan, very strong hero, great push. Does give Boom Esports the push that they need. They don't really have the best push right now. Red.
Thank you.
That's it. That's all that needs to be said. It's red.
Thank you for
all
your...
red. Look at that. Oh, love it.
Thank you for your deep analysis as always, John. Are they paying you for this, John?
Yes, they are.
Well,
I can say it. I have no NDA. Oh man.
Geek Fam.
I mean,
go on, John. What is
It's a great pick, right? Like the Lycan, it's gonna melt these towers. You are picking it into a Gyro who can flat cannon your summons, I suppose. It doesn't feel like a very pertinent thing. Like the Lycan's still gonna be online before the Gyrocopter is, for the most part. I don't see it losing out in any lane. This does kind of cancel out what Geek Fam's trying to do with their own team fight synergy here. And they're gonna have to pick something that will deal with Lycan. I would say maybe a Puck for mid. Kind of keep him still, help you clear out those waves as well. That's Geek could look at. Plays with that Keeper of the Light and the Gyrocopter quite nicely. So you can last pick that.
They're waiting. Geek Fam, looking to finish this draft off strong. Okay, Monkey King it is. They need the early game presence. Can't disagree with the Monkey King pick. They do have the tools. They do have the tools available to deal with this Lycan, right? You've got the Coddle, you've got the Gyrocopter, you've got a Rubik who can still stroke a Fate, which is very effective against the Lycan, and you've also got now a Monkey King who can just fight head on. Overall, two very interesting drafts. Looking at those drafts, John, we are in game number 2. Who do you think does have the better looking draft?
Better looking, Boom Esports, because of the red.
Who has the better
actual
draft,
playability?
Okay,
Boom Esports.
yeah.
It's still, for me, it's still Boom. I think it's going to be easier for them to hit their timings. I think for Geek Fam to have their draft work, they're going to need to get decent farm on their gyrocopters. They have to get Raven some space. They need to give Carl some good space as well. They don't need too much farm. The issue is they've got to find that midway point where they have 2 mid-game items, start fighting. They can't take their time here because Boom will melt their towers. This is just something that Boom Esports does a lot of. They're going to run down your objectives fast. So you have to find a midway point, get initial farm going. Once you're comfy enough, once you have the levels to burst them down, start fighting, start forcing Boom in a rough spot, forcing them to really compromise themselves for their positioning, start to punish that overextension. Boom can and is prone to overextending. That is something you can abuse here.
We'll see how it all does pan out. Geek Fam do not want to drop this series in game 2. That would not be nice. We'll move into it though.
Prepare for
And of course, hopefully for us, John, we always want to watch more Dota. We'd rather it not just end quickly. But we can't control the outcome of the game. We'll have to see how Geek Fam can perform. Of course, odds are up on the screen, John. You probably can't see them yourself, but Boom Esports are the favorites. And it's not because of the color of their heroes, John. It is simply because they probably won game 1 and are looking to be the favorites in this matchup.
I wouldn't blame. Boom is looking pretty darn good so far. It's really on to Geek Fam. Geek Fam has to step it up. They've got a lineup that can deal with Boom. I'd say it's harder for them to deal with it, but it's certainly a possibility. They've got to play to their strengths here. They've got to come out stronger in their lanes. They can't afford to have Raven lagging behind. That's a really big part of it. You cannot be too far behind on the gyrocopter because you're going to invest a lot of time playing catch-up, and that's time Boom ID will just run you down. So you ensure that Raven has a good lane this time compared to game 1, and I think that'll correct a lot of the issues.
Did you ever Oh, Zephyr. Oh, that's not good. Well, they know that there's a ward there now, so you've got that, and Zephyr actually pings it out perfectly. So he does take a bit of damage from the tier 1, but it pays off because you know exactly where the dire ward is and you can take it out immediately. A fight over those boundaries, so nice Fisher coming out. Kezcute really setting up here onto Raven, but FBZ, he's falling quite low. Rocket Barrage comes out, FBZ still falling low, but not low enough. Hyde, he'll turn around onto Whiteman now. Kezcute, he's the only man left, still running forward. Zephyr will turn around and continue harassing. They're just not going to back off. Boom is very angry this game. Hyde, nice stroke of fate connecting on 2. Fisher to block them away from the... I mean, that's just genius.
Raven.
That is really clever. And Zephyr will be the one who has to come in and take some creeps away. Raven, he only misses out on 1 range creep. It's not the biggest deal, but nice little play there from Kezcute.
Definitely. You mentioned it before, but it's these tiny plays, these tiny little wins that you get in a game like Dota 2 that really brings you ahead. So, Boom, looking to keep that aggression up, are running a tri-lane here to face up against Geek Fam's own tri-lane, although you do see movement from Zephyr.
Well, he knows where the ward is, so I think he just wants to go get the D ward off, but he doesn't have a sentry yet. Zephyr? You're not really going to put a ward down now. I mean, if he puts a ward down, that would be terrible, though. Yeah, he's going to go for the courier snipe. And he's going to find it. That's huge. Great play from Zephyr. And Makoto, he brought a salve out, so at least he has that. But after that, if Carl can just work his magic, Makoto should have a very rough time.
Definitely. And this should be a pretty decent lane for Carl. Like, this definitely does favor that Monkey King, has the slight range advantage, has the spam ability and the capability of just staying in that lane by sheer right play.
Kezcute is dead, although nice spear onto Raven. Inkswell from Hyde. He's going to go after Whiteman. Does he have the damage? He does. It'll be a 1-for-1 on supports.
You die.
This bot lane is getting messier and messier.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you stack 6 heroes down there. Although, once more, you do see Zephyr switch out. So he's going to be up top now. And we do go back to what I presume will be dual lanes. Although, you do see Kescute slowly walking back. So they just want to keep that pressure onto Raven. But that is going to cost them that top lane. Dreamercell is fending off Cuckoo alone.
Somewhat. Like, Cuckoo is still freely farming. Zephyr, he's going to make his way in. I think the idea is, like, just trying to stem the bleeding that is going to be this Lycan in 10-15 minutes.
Dire's courier has been killed.
So, Dreamercell's courier does go down. Zephyr really focusing down those couriers as much as he can. Will even get the creep pool away. It's going to make Dreamercell's life just a little bit harder. Whoa. Mid lane, Mikoto does end up going down, and Carl, with the Boundless Strike, finishing off the Ember. And I guess at least it gives him a bit of a reset, as he did use that salve he brought out earlier on. That will give Carl a huge advantage in that mid lane, however.
He's already significantly ahead in terms of last hits. He's having a great time mid, in very stark contrast to game 1. This should give Geek Fam a nice timing here. Should allow Carl to be much more active earlier on, and that's what they're going to need if they want to stem the push that can come out from Boom.
Carl has just complete control over the lane. And should really stay that way. I can't imagine it gets any worse for him, though. Whiteman, bot lane, is going to get ganked up. Hyde, he went for the auto attack and doesn't connect with the Inkswell.
It's a missed opportunity there, but they did have Raven coming in. I think that's what held the Hyde off. Stepped back immediately. Doesn't want to try risking copying all that rocket barrage. Lots of pain there.
You're still giving FBZ a lot of farm on the Mars anyway, right? Like, he's still having a great old time. I don't think it's going to really be too much of a concern as to whether the Coddle's dead or not. Mid lane. Jingu Mastery going to be procced. Raven ends up finding Hyde on the Grimstroke, so Hyde just completely out of position. Raven, homing missile, apparently was enough to finish the job off.
Again, just managing to really bully that out. I think Hyde was playing pretty far forward. Doesn't have too much regen left on him, so probably just wanted to reset. Does get it. Does cost him a bit, but Geek Fam gonna be very happy with this kind of start. 3-1 already, 2k, 1k lead. On top of that, stark contrast to game 1. They're managing to find a lot more from their lanes, and Boom is just not managing to maximize that farm as we saw them do in game 1.
It's going to be a real slow kind of game for Boom if they can't help out Mikoto in this mid. Like, he's now been completely leveled by Carl, one full level ahead, and just every time he comes forward, he just gets 3 stacks placed on him. Carl will keep those on him and make sure Mikoto just doesn't feel safe to even approach the mid lane.
It's not a fun time for Mikoto. He's really just not going to be finding too much farm here, and he's going to have to accept that Carl is just going to be ahead. There's really nothing they can do unless they toss a support rotation in. Still runs the risk with just how much Carl has in terms of raw power right now. You could run the risk of actually giving him a couple kills. So the window to gank the Monkey King has kind of slipped. I believe Boom now has to just focus on their side lanes. Try to give Dreamosol the initial farm he needs. I mean, he's not really struggling, but he's not shining against Cuckoo. Cuckoo's at 42-12 compared to Dreamosol's 23-0. Now that's still better than our Gyrocopter. Gyrocopter's at 18-5, so Raven's not having the best of times as well. But FBZ's not winning as much as Cuckoo is. So that's going to be a major factor for Geek Fam. That should play into their favor. And that could mean that Cuckoo is going to be much more active on map a bit earlier on than you'd expect.
I mean, you can't forget as well, John, like last game around, Cuckoo was playing a POS 3 Clockwork, which, you know, arguably just doesn't scale as well as something like a Centaur, which, in my opinion, just scales really well. Just becomes infinitely tankier. It's pretty much always effective. And With this much farm on Cuckoo, he should be in a much better position. Dream Missile, not so much. Dream Missile's in fact almost only half the CS.
Yeah,
That's
it's not
kind
good.
of insane.
It's really a big difference from game one. The laning presence that Geek Fam has is much more effective. That's definitely one of the changes they did need. Um, they just need to maintain this. I think with the fact that Carl has won mid, Sports have a lot more leeway on the side lanes. You do want to keep an eye on Raven though. Like, yeah, Cuckoo's winning hard. Raven is lagging behind, which means that could potentially see the Gyrocopter take his time as you enter that mid game. He's not going to be around to drop that call down. Probably just going to be farming up for a while until he gets one or two items up. And that could give Boom Esports a bit of a window to try to take those objectives to top.
Oh, he's still going to be paused up. Dream Missile just still having some issues. Oh, thank you, Mr. Admin. 8 minutes of pause time left, apparently. And I guess after that, it's going to be a matter of whether Geek Fam are willing to share pause time.
Let's shake things up.
So this is this is a final series of the group stage, so you wouldn't blame them for not sharing it. This is war after all. Are we gonna see a spirit vessel this game, I wonder? Like, we still haven't seen one all day. We went from seeing one every single game to now just never.
I think in this case, you probably won't. I don't think
Really?
there's enough like regen dependent heroes here to really need that. Like, you could make an argument for the Mars, but I don't think Spirit Vessel is going to do too much when there's no one really healing up. You just have to be able to jump him from a different area. Beyond that, I don't think it's going to be too. Maybe for like the Monkey King, so Boom could consider it. I don't see anyone naturally building into it fairly quickly though, unless you're going to be looking at Mikado building a fast Urn. That's an option. We have seen Ember Spirits go from Urn to Spirit Vessel. Is something they could fall back to if they really just want to deal with Carl, who can be a nuisance, can last a lot longer than you'd expect. But for Geek Fam, I don't see any real reason they have. Nothing there from Boom. I guess the regen on the Lycan, but that becomes a bit less of a factor as the game goes on, as your damage goes up. Like, it's nothing obnoxious like having an Oracle around with False Promise. So no real pressure here to build into that.
Shout out to my wife from Cuckoo.
Let's shake things up.
Didn't know Cuckoo was married. He loves her. That is fantastic, Cuckoo. Shout out to Cuckoo's wife.
Yeah, just
Never
lots of
be
love.
ashamed to admit love.
Mm-hmm.
How's your wife going, John?
You saw it in my bed. It's doing fine. It's doing fine. Perfectly fine. Oh, don't ask me, Mike. If you don't want to really know, don't ask. Okay? It's not a happy.
Shake things up.
Still filing the papers in court.
5 minutes.
5 minutes
went
left.
to the admin.
Awesome.
Ooh, time a ticking.
Big.
You'd hate to see a game end with these kind of this kind of reasoning, but rules are rules.
They are.
Speaking
Hopefully-
of rules, shout out to PPD, by the way. In case you weren't aware, PPD has announced his retirement the other day. Greatest captain of NA for sure.
Oh, for
And a fantastic person, John. Have I mentioned, he's a really nice guy.
yeah, you have. I mean, just it's the persona I think that a lot of people misconstrue. But I think he's a solid.
Oh, he is.
He means well.
He does. It's gonna be a real shame not seeing him in the scene any longer. Oh, he'll still be around though for sure. Like I imagine he'll probably start casting. You know, be an analyst, jump on the panels and things like that. We'll still get our yearly dose of salt, I'm sure.
Oh, it's not the same without salt. Gotta have that flavor.
Absolutely. But you know what I found out the other day, by the way, John? And I don't know if
Yeah?
this is a similar thing in the Philippines. Do you guys have chicken salt?
What?
Chicken salt.
Is that salt from? What is that? Describe it to me first. Maybe we call it something more civilized.
It's
What do you
just
mean
chicken flavored salt, like not
What?
an actual
What?
chicken. It's like it's a
Chicken-
What it's a
Flavor-
it doesn't taste like exactly like chicken. It's just a flavoring, right, on normal salt, and we in Australia call it chicken salt.
Chicken salt. We don't have chicken salt. We do have something that I'm sure a lot of my fellow Filipinos in chat would support me with. Nor magic syrup. We have that. You guys don't. Y'all don't have that. Magic flavor crystals. We don't know what it is. We toss it everywhere. But it's not quite chicken salt. I'm really not sure what chicken salt is. That sounds interesting. I think it might be the same as what I'm talking about. Maybe. Although those are more of granule. They're not salt. Is it really literally just rock salt with flavoring?
I mean, it's not rock salt. It's basically like table salt, but I can't believe. You know, the reason why I bring this up because I realized the other day I saw a tweet, and apparently Americans don't have it. And as an Australian, because we eat chicken salt on our chips, right? It's delicious.
What does that mean?
It's just a
I
delicious
can't
flavoring,
imagine
John.
it. And that sounds fantastic. Then
It
I
is.
can't say we have that. We definitely don't have that. We do have magic syrup, so you know that's what we have. I can't explain it to you. It's just magic flavoring you toss everywhere. It's actually pretty funny. There was this one video where some foreigner was asking like Filipino guy on the street who was making like roast chicken. He's asking, "Oh, there's lemongrass here, there's salt, and what else is in there?" The guy's like, "Oh yeah, salt," and just says nonchalantly magic syrup. It's like admitting that you're using a pre-made curry in a restaurant, you know?
I see.
But we do use that. It's part of our culture now.
Okay. I guess it wouldn't be an MLP johnxfire cast without some mukbang casting, John. Gotta get the mukbang casting out. What does that mean?
Oh my god.
Well, go on, John. You
Oh,
can't just laugh at every joke and not tell me what's going on.
You're just calling everyone tits. Hello.
What?
Hello, Pete.
Is it
I don't know how to translate.
All right. Well, if it's
I don't know how to
inappropriate,
translate that.
don't say it. If it's what does that mean? Is this inappropriate?
It's hello. I see. This is one thing. I'm just not very good in explaining Filipino, but it's man, that's really hard to actually translate and make it straight up. It sounds like "hello, fellow tit." That doesn't sound funny in itself. It's a lot funnier in my head. Maybe I'm just not that funny. It's laughing.
Okay. Thank you for that, John.
Wait. Yeah, you tell them, cuckoo.
Get him, Cuckoo.
I don't know.
The Whiteman's on his own team, by the way. It's not like he's trash talking the other team or anything.
Yeah, cause that's hello Mankatita is like it's not quite. It's just so random. Like what made it funny was that freaking white one in Sephiroth. More of him. It's like, well, it makes sense enough, but it also really doesn't.
Okay. Well, Cuckoo's now asking the questions. He's taking
minute.
over the adminning. Oh, Cuckoo the nice guy. Wow.
Oh.
Sportsmanship from
Tips
Cuckoo.
out.
Give him the tip. First,
Oh.
he tells his wife he loves her in a professional match, and now offering pause time. Nice guy, Cuckoo.
Very nice. Whew. Southeast Asia. That's how we do it.
Just in time. We do have the reconnection before the time ran out. Apparently the power went out for Dreamer Cell, but now the power is back on, and we will get back to it. So where were we? Dreamer Cell, he was struggling a little bit in lane up against Cuckoo on the Centaur. And I mean, basically the similar thing was happening down at the bot lane. In fact, it's even worse for Raven on the Gyrocopter. Still, Carl's having a fantastic time. He's even found himself a double damage rune now on the Monkey King. So, I mean, you look at Makoto on the Ember. He's just gone to jungle. He's had enough.
Yeah, really not much for him to do in that lane. He's gonna have to give it up. The rotation out, hide to try to soak some EXP. Very precarious place to soak it. Carl can just kind of run up, get some damage.
It's going to be a really slow leveling process for Makoto, though. He's going to TP back mid, but like Carl's level 7 now. In comparison to the level 5 of the Ember. Not going to find the Sage Creep either. They'll try. And ping's coming out onto FBZ from Raven. Well, FBZ hasn't hit that level 6 yet, so they do have somewhat of an opening to try and take down this Mars. Raven's probably just giving his team the heads up, like, hey, I'm struggling against this guy. Let's get a gank going.
I mean, overall though, I think Geek Fam is still gonna be happy with the state of the game. Like, look at Carl hunting that jungle, trying to find Makoto. He does miss, but the pressure is on Makoto. He just can't stand that lane. And, you know, they've got a nice lead. 3K now at 7.5 minutes in. 3-2K. Very good compared to game 1. This is setting themselves up to really mitigate that kind of playstyle Boom Esports wants to bring out. They're going to have to really find a way to apply that pressure. They are buying space for the Lycan, to be fair. Boom have transitioned Dreamo Cell into the jungle. Going to be finishing up that Helm of the Dominator in about 300 gold. So that's when the Lycan can really start to come online. But it doesn't feel like it's going to be enough with this kind of net worth deficit yet.
Regeneration.
A lot of stacks going out here from Whiteman on the Coddle, just setting up those Ancients for the Gyrocopter later on. Raven. Not really, not really falling that far behind. Like, in terms of net worth, he's still far ahead of the Lycan. In fact, they are going to go for an attempt now onto FBZ. Raven has got the call down, ready to go. FBZ going to go for the TP. They will have no way to cancel that, and he will get out successfully.
Just on the edge. If he did TP just a bit later, they might have found him. The rocket might have hit, but does go away, does waste some time. Still gets whacked. It's gonna be too much of an issue.
They are taking control over this game, though. I mean, Cuckoo's found the top tier 1. There's going to be no trade for Boom. They aren't going to be able to find the bottom tier 1 for quite a bit of time. We do see the rotation back down bot by FBZ, and Hyde is there, but it's not like they're going to siege that tier 1 tower. So, all they could really do is hope for a kill attempt here with that Arena of Blood. They could go for it now, FBZ. He's within range to jump Raven. It can be challenging, though, when you have Blinding Light available from Whiteman. Unless you have 4 heroes down here. In fact, they do. Dreamer Cell. Oh, the Spirit knocked him out of the arena. Raven is going to walk away, but a nice ink swell on that Dominated Creep. Dreamer Cell going to chase him down, but now Carl's here, and they should be able to turn this.
No.
But a huge Bishop from Kescute. It is not going to be enough. Dreamer Cell still chasing, but this is not safe. They need to get the hell out of there. Dreamer Cell runs for his life. A homing missile will chase. Do they keep going? I don't think they'll really make it any. Oh, they will. Boundless Strike. Lift is going to come out. Dreamer Cell, he turns around. He tries to fight like a man, but it means nothing. Boom ID just I don't know what they were trying to do there. Like, kill the Gyrocopter, but once that arena was messed up, they just should have left.
They missed the arena, they missed the Fissure. Like, they trapped Raven on the wrong side, so the Lycan had to walk around in a full circle. and they just missed out. A lot of small mistakes there from Boom, costing them a lot. Geek Fam gonna get a lot out of that. They should be able to pressure this tier 1 tower. And Boom, maybe they try to fight this. They are clumped up, but I don't think they have the tools to really take a fight now.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
That T1 mid not going to be very safe.
Dire's
Geek Fam
structures are fortified.
trying to get it down. The Fortify will come out. Carl threatening the Wukong's command. Carl will manage to finish off the T1. Boom, 5k net worth behind. Just looks worse and worse for them as time goes on, as they just... You don't have the greatest catch-up mechanisms for Boom with this kind of draft. Like, it is very, very challenging to try and catch up in terms of farm, especially up against something like a Monkey King, who can really just constantly have vision with that Primal Spring and Tree Dance.
Yeah, like the Monkey King's gonna keep a constant watch on you. You can't flash farm as fast as Raven could. He's really fast in the Jar Copper with that flak, and he's been left alone now. He's managed to overtake all the cores on the side of Boom
Dire's top tower
and is
under
leading. He's
attack.
the lowest value core on Geek Fam's side, but that's still a better spot than any hero on Boom side. So Boom has to be able to get the lid on one of these heroes. They've fallen behind a huge amount. 5k lead now for Geek Fam at 12 minutes in. Really big swing in their favor. And if it continues to bleed out like this, I don't see too many ways for Boom Esports to catch back up. They're going to have to play their cards perfectly, split push like madmen, and give DreamOCell all the space in the world to get those objectives for them.
Radiant are scanning.
Makoto could be in trouble. Zephyr has a haste rune. Doesn't get the lift off, and really still there. He got the remnants. That's always nice. Chain's going to be there on Zephyr. He's got a remnant out, but he needs to use it now, and he does not get it off in time. Hyde, he had the silence.
It's always easy to spot an imitation.
And so Boom at least finds something. But you look at Makoto, he's being stalked right now. Primal Spring won't really connect anyway. Makoto has a remnant. He feels safe. Won't even need to use it.
I mean, while this game does slow down, Geek Fam just farms up. Raven clears out that massive stack that Whitemon has been working on for a while. That's a huge gold injection into our Jar of Copper. Again, slowly building up towards tags. And once that's up, the farm accelerates. The presence in team fights is much greater. It's going to take a lot more to try to kill him off with the added stats. And you can't say the same about DreamOCell. His farm has just been trailing behind at a consistent rate. Every single hero on Boom just cannot find that flash farm they need.
Kono. Boundless Strike not coming out. Carl. Assuming he may have remnanted it, and now it does come out. Won't be enough, of course. And Boom, they've got to make some kind of play with this draft. I just don't know what it is. They don't flash farm as fast as the Gyrocopter. Top 3 net worths are the side of Geek Fam though, so there's no real way to push. They just feel trapped. Like, what do you do in this situation?
They need to slowly build up. If they want to take a fight, they need to have their Mars in front. Although FBZ, it looks like he might be in this touch of trouble instead.
Yeah, he's surrounded. Smoke rotation. Geek Fam just ruining the only thing that was going well for Boom. And Carl will pick up another kill on the Monkey King.
Radiant's middle
That'll
tower
extend the
is
net
under
worth
attack.
lead to 6k
Dire's bottom tower
the way of
is
Geek
under
Fam.
attack. Dire's structures
It's just
are
not slowing
fortified.
down. They just keep doing it.
Just not much really Boom can do. They can't afford to split push. They can't afford to take fights. They need a lot more waiting for them. It looks like a reversal of game one. Like, it's Boom that's in the situation Geek Fam was in game one the time around, and they're not dealing with it all too well as well.
Dire's
They really
bottom
aren't.
tower is under attack.
Makoto's just farming stacks. Like, he understands he needs to, or he needed to really set the tempo of the game with this Ember pick. And that has not happened. He's trying to catch up the best he can, but look at that net worth. He's at 4.5k. He's 3k behind the offlane Centaur of Cuckoo.
He's
Still,
forced
they're
into
gonna-
blade meal. Well, oh,
They do get an arena, so it's going to be Zephyr going down again. You know, normally you'd say that's not the greatest kill in the world, but anything is good right now. In fact, they're going to try after Cuckoo. This could be huge. Inkswell will connect, but do you have the damage? Will-O-Wisp will be dropped, and now the Wukong's command going to fly out. Still Mikoto gets out of there, but FBZ, he is stuck in the middle of all of it. He's going nowhere, and they will find one in the form of Hyde, and FBZ also will go down. And they just couldn't finish off the mid T1 tower while all that was happening either.
Just gives a lot more to Geek Fam in this exchange. They're winning out, they're finding the fights, they are rotating quite well, and just taking every single piece that Boom could depend on away from them. Now, the only good thing to come out from that for Boom is that Dreamwhistle's not being bothered in his jungle, so he's farming up. The issue is, are you able to ride off the back of this Lycan? Is that going to be enough with how far behind you are? It's really looking like it's not going to be. They need to take some of these fights, they need to find those pickoffs, but Geek Fam is all over the map. They just jump in, they counter fight, they know they can easily overwhelm whatever Boom Esports has, and Boom is just forced to retreat immediately. They finish up that Blade Mail on Mikado as well. I don't think that's going to do enough. It's just going to give him a little bit more presence, but really not much more than he already has.
Radiant's bottom
I agree.
tower is under attack.
They're going to find Carl, but they're going to try. Inkswell going to be out there. Carl just stands there and man fights. Jingu Proc is there, but can you burst him down? They may be able to, and they do. Oh, okay. That's not good, Carl. That is not good.
It's a lot of gold going away from Mikado, a lot of EXP. Well, it's going to be one of the bigger pickoffs they have. That swing just went down to 6k for the wave.
Keskut should drop here on the Earthshaker, and does. They do find a support. Stampede? For what? Oh, now without the Stampede, Makoto says, I'll go. Arena gonna be there. Zephyr, he will drop immediately. Now they'd love to find Cuckoo. He's a bit of a tanky target, but he's worth quite a bit of gold right now. As Call Down will fly out. They aren't gonna be able to finish the job. Perhaps they turn on Raven, but it looks unsafe as now Carl has came in, although Cuckoo getting very, very low on that Centaur. And Carl wants sweet, sweet revenge, but can he find it? He'll go after Hyde. FBZ, a nice spear on the Monkey King. Now the Inkswell just controlling up this monkey. They'll get him, and now the Echo comes out. It's pretty huge from Keskut, but is it enough? That Will-O-Wisp really distracting them during this team fight, but Makoto, he found Whiteman. Now they run forward. They found the Gyrocopter. Raven goes down, but Zephyr, he jumps in with the Remnants. It at least gets Makoto, but it will cost his own life, and they still want more. They want Carl on the Monkey King. He should be safe. But that is a huge team fight for Boom.
Very big team fight going the way of Boom. They do lose out on their Ember, but they found so many big kills. The patient coming out from the Earthshaker to wait there.
Almost gets spotted out there and taken out by FBZ. Had that spear landed, that would have been very, very bad news. And you know, that net worth lead, John, it started dipping now. They're about 7-8k. It's now down to 4. You've given a lot of gold away to that Lycan, who now has the Necro 1 book up, and it's kind of halfway to the Necro 2 book, and Mikoto especially, right? Like, he was so far behind in levels. Now he's actually out-leveling in terms of XP, the Monkey King.
It's a really good spot for Boom. Not quite fixing all the issues they have, but if they keep taking these fights these ways, I think you're going to have a lot of success. They just need to play around their Mars and their Ember Spirit. All the damage that does pump out, they have to land that combination. It's really on FBZ's back to get the arena, get the spear out perfectly, and then the follow-up damage comes out. Of course, it would help if Keskut had a way of closing the gap for the Echo Slam, but his first Echo wasn't bad. He just walked up, caught 3 heroes. That was definitely one of the tools that let them do that as well.
Close call, John. Zephyr didn't really react with the lift. Stampede again. Where are they going? Top lane it's going to be as Keskut does get caught. Raven commits the call down. Keskut, Fisher. Homing missile connects and yeah, he'll die. I question the stampeding there. Mikoto does get a very nice dodge on the hoof stomp. And keeps... He actually runs in for the rune. My god. The balls on this man.
Oh yeah. Right on the edge. Just trying to get as much as possible. Really scary situation to be in, but does go out just fine. Fam just can't really find anything with that. If they did land that stomp, of course, it would have gone for kill. Still, Boom Esports finally get the Necro 2s now. Well, they have a little bit more coming out. They immediately smoke with that item pickup. They're going to try to find something.
They will try. Of course, any kill really does mean a tower right now. Anything they can find means that Boom ID will take at least one objective. Who is it they are going to find? They'd love to get Cuckoo right now on the Centaur. He doesn't have Stampede. He does get Inkswelled, and it looks like he is getting bursted, though Wukong's will save his life for now. But the Soulbind holding him into the Stroke of Fate will take him out. Meanwhile, Makoto going straight after Zephyr, and he does get him with a Sleight of Fist. It's a 2-for-0 trade as Carl jumps in after Makoto. He throws a Remnant. He'll survive as they go for more. Carl, you can't die like this, but the arena drops. FBZ with the follow-up, and Carl is going down. Oh, John, this is really, really upsetting to see for Geek Fam. Like, they were so far ahead. I thought it was impossible for Boom to come back. I really did.
It's just sets of small slip-ups that Boom managed to feed through. That's giving them the turnarounds. Carl dying this many times has been a major factor. He's not there to get his damage out. You saw the great effect of that Soul Bind as well onto Cuckoo right when Carl was coming in, mitigating the escape of Cuckoo and the initiation of Carl, just messing up that entire fight by the ramp, giving so much more to Boom than you'd expect, tying them up basically in terms of net worth. Just a 2k advantage for Geek Fam. That's still pretty good. But you take a look at how spaced apart cores are. It's not that big of a gap anymore.
No. The Lycan's caught up. He's at 9k now, and he's got the full book coming out, Necro 3 book on the way. Makoto has found Cuckoo. He has a double damage room bottled up and a new Deso. He pops the Blade Mail, still not popping the DD because he doesn't need to. Cuckoo's dead.
I love it coming out from Makoto. Just going straight for that Desolator after finishing up the Blade Mail, just play off that physical damage. It's paying off. Like, it was a very rough start for Makoto. He was not getting anything from lane. He was not finding farm. He wasn't given really free reign on jungle because Dreamosel had to be there. Now he's coming in, now he's doing the damage. He's hard to deal with. They're gonna go for the Roche. It is scanned out. Geek Fam can get something done, but it does look like it's falling a bit too fast.
I think they've lost all confidence. Like, Cuckoo's not there to tank and be in the front lines with the Stampede. Who else is gonna jump in? Like, Carl's just getting destroyed every time he tries. And against all odds, at 23 minutes in, it'll be Boom that takes the first Roshan. And by the way, that net worth lead now down to 1k. And oh, Cuckoo, no. They just took a Roshan. Oh my. And now they move forward as Whiteman, chained up, Makoto catches him and he is dead.
Damage coming out from Makoto with the double damage rune. He took more than half of the HP of Whitemon. Just melted.
Oh, I mean, why go to the triangle after a Roshan attempt from Boom?
Just careless. Geek Fam kind of slipping up here, giving a couple of kills they shouldn't be. They're gonna lose this tier 2 as well. You have to remember, Dreamosel does have the Necro trees now. So he's going to be able to melt through these objectives. Still has the shapeshift as if they want to.
Mid lane? FBZ drops the arena, but he is by himself. Raven had a BKB up, pops a bit. The Soulbind just in time, holding him down, and here comes Makoto. Gets the chains, has Inkswell. They want the Gyro first, but a huge Will-O-Wisp, and now the Echo comes out. The Gyro goes down, but Carl is trying to fight back. Makoto is low, and he does lose the Aegis, but here comes Dreamosel. He will find Whiteman, and the only man left is Carl, who will manage to jump out of there. Still, you would argue, a better team fight for Boom. They got the better gold change. It does end up being a 3 for 3, and I guess you would argue for FBZ that was a bit of an early initiation. But still, you found the POS 1, you found the POS 1 and a couple supports. You can't be too upset.
No, definitely not. You forced the usage of those fresh BKBs as well from Geek Fam. That was the 10-second BKB charge on Carl, 10-second BKB charge on Raven. So, you know, you're slowly whittling down in that. They're not going to have the biggest, longest amount of match community next time you take these fights. you do expend the Aegis, but found those kills, you found the objective you want. Boom Esports is still pretty happy. Still slowly building back up. Geek Fam does have ways of turning these fights around. You're gonna have to really be a lot more careful.
Raven.
Far forward.
Arena. It's there. Inkswell silence everything. They do blinding light. Cuckoo jumps in. They force out the BKB, but the soulbind is there, and now the cooldown will come out, and that will allow them to walk away. But that's 2 charges of the BKB now, going down in the exact same spot to the exact same initiation.
You know, the biggest thing about this as well, it's like he has a beacon. I mean, that's down to 9 seconds too, but he's not being forced to use it in response. He's using it to play aggressively, and that's really making the difference here for Boom. They're just the ones dictating the pace of the game from a deficit into a 3K lead. Geek Fam have to find a way to get back in. I have to mention Carl still saving up for a Radiant at this point on Monkey King. I'm not sure if the timing is going to be good enough. Like, he should go for maybe a value item at this point, give him a lot more presence than just saving up for the Sacred Relic.
Yeah, I can't say I agree with it either. This is not exactly Thompson timing, that's for sure. FBZ gonna jump in. Fisher gonna be there on Carl, but they found the spear on Whiteman, and that's the coddle gone. Now with the Inkswell on the Mars, they almost found him, but Zephyr does save the day, but Dreamer Cell, he will take care of Zephyr. Still, they try to fight. Will-O-Wisp is gonna be there. FBZ in the middle of it with the arena, and they go straight after Carl. The Monkey King is dead. The BKB starting to wear off on the gyro as Whiteman. He'll die back on the Keeper of the Light. And this game is getting harder and harder as time goes on. Boom will not go for a tier 3 push as the wave is not going to be around for them, and the buybacks did come out from Carl, but are they actually going to fight? This is not the fight. Cuckoo jumps in on the Grimstroke. They'll start on Hyde, but they're going to lose Zephyr. It's a dieback on the Rubik. Hyde will buy back on the Grimstroke now. They want to keep fighting. Carl, but the Echo Kescute. He jumps in and finds 3 of them. He will go down in the end, but they'll lose Raven. Cuckoo's about to fall as well as Makoto is just controlling everybody. They can't even kill the Mars. This could be GG. As Carl's trying to run away, but how many diebacks are we seeing here? He's caught. That's a dieback on the Monkey. I think the game's over.
That's awesome. They should be able to melt through these objectives. They're going to have Shapeshift in 7 seconds.
It's tier 4s. Like, there's no buybacks left.
Dreamer's still going for... Yeah, they're top Shapeshift. They're just going to go for the safe play, melt the racks. But nah.
No, go for the tier 4s, right? Like, there's no buybacks.
Dreamercell just assembled his assault pierce in the enemy base. It looks like they just want to play it safe. They're going to go for the mega creeps.
Okay.
And just, they don't want to. You know, they are ahead. They know that they could just swing back. But
GG's been called.
Alright. Just like that. Alright. Boom. It looked iffy, right? Geek Fam had a much better start this time around. What small mistakes, like Carl getting caught out, the positioning into his fights. And Boom just finds a way back in. So, props to Boom. They take the series 2-0. Geek Fam, they looked good. It looked like they were going to take this to game 3. Not enough in the tank. Bled a bit too much from their lead. And really give it all back.
With that, John, that is it for the night. Big congratulations to Boom, of course. I believe now they do make their way into the winners bracket. I believe, anyway. I'm sure there'll be confirmation very soon about that. That is it for the night, however. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow, John, which is going to be a lot of fun because that is when the playoffs start.
Oh, yeah.
So tomorrow is playoff day. And I believe we are going to be starting with the matchup with Fnatic. I'm just not exactly sure who is going to be versing Fnatic, but we will find out. I think in a few minutes. It should update. We should have an answer to that. John, do you have any final words before we depart for the night?
Yeah, hopefully everyone has had fun. There was a lot of action today. Probably some of the best games we've seen so far, in my opinion, came out today. Really good way to close off that group stage. If you did enjoy, of course, you can catch me and Mike on Twitter. It's at MLP Dota and at johnxfire. I'm on Facebook as well if you want, johnxfire.gaming. Otherwise, we'll catch you guys tomorrow.
Thank you for that, John. By the way, I did just get an update. So we are going to have Boom in the winner bracket. RR will be going down to the lower bracket now. So for all you Boom Esports fans, they are going up to the upper bracket, and RR, unfortunately for any fans of RR, are going to the lower bracket, where I believe they'll be up against Geek Fam in round 1, or somebody in round 1, in fact, not Geek Fam, because they're going to be waiting for their opponents. But yeah, it is MLP Dota, it's JohnXFire. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some more SCA Dota. See you then.